Today we're going to talk about chapter 4.9, circles. First of all, we're going to talk about the center radius form of the equation of a circle. You studied this in geometry, but I'm just going to teach this to you again this year. You have a formula for the equation of a circle. Now remember, the center is going to be at HK, and the radius is going to be called R. So you know H and K and R, they're going to be numbers. X and Y are just going to be letters, so you have X minus H squared plus Y minus K squared, and that's equal to the radius squared. That's just the formula for the equation of a circle. Remember, X and Y are variables. H and K are whatever the center is, and R is what the radius is. So what we're going to do is identify the center and the radius of these circles. We know they're circles because they're in the form of the equation of a circle. And notice the minus here. So the H and K values are actually going to be reversed when you try to find what the center is. So the center is, all you take are those two values next to the X and Y and make them the opposite. So positive 4 becomes negative 4. Negative 3 becomes positive 3. So there's the center. And the radius, well, this is r squared. So 16 is equal to r squared. So the radius is equal to the square root of 16. Well, that's easy to evaluate. That's just a 4. The second one, what is the center of this circle? Well, x doesn't have anything next to it. It's just like x minus 0 squared. So the x value of the center is 0 because it has nothing next to it, and the y value of the center is the opposite of negative 2, which is positive 2. And the radius, remember you take the square root of that number, the square root of 24, which is almost 5, but not quite. And if you want to break this down, it breaks down into 6 and 4. So this would be 2 square root of 6 if you wanted to make that in radical form. Usually it's not real handy to have the radius in radical form, though. This next one, the center, is the opposite of negative 3, which is 3, and the opposite of positive 5, which is negative 5. And the center is, the radius is the square root of 15, which can't be broken down. So the square root of 15, it's almost 4. It's probably 3.8 or something big like that. All right, the equation of the circle, now we have to write ourselves. We're given the center, we're given the radius. So remember, the equation of the circle goes x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. That's just from this box up here. So the center is given to us as h and k, and the radius is 7. So all we have to do is say x minus 3 squared plus y minus 1 squared equals 7 squared, which is 49. So there's the first set circles equation. The second one, the center is at negative 2, 7, so you do x plus 2 squared plus y minus 7 squared, don't forget the squared and don't forget the plus signs in between, equals the square root of 10 squared is just 10. And this last one, when the center is at the origin, x minus 0 squared is just x, so you have x squared. Y minus 0 squared is just y, and 1 squared is just 1. So this is a special kind of circle, number 6 is. And now we have some different information. We're given the center here, which is called H and K, and we're given the point on the graph. Now, points on the graph are called X and Y. We don't know what the radius is. We have to figure it out. So one of our jobs here in writing the equation of this is to find the value of R. We've got to do that. So we can set this up as our x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Now we know x and y are 5 and 3 because that's the point on a circle. So x equals 5. Now h and k are 3 and negative 2. So we have 5 minus 3 squared plus the y value is 3 minus negative 2, which is plus 2 squared, equals r squared. Well, 5 minus 3 is 2 squared. 3 plus 2 is 5 squared, equals r squared. So actually, in this beginning, we only have to find what r squared is. We don't have to take the square root of it. Well, 2 squared is 4. 5 squared is 25. So 4 and 25 is 29, equals r squared. Well, the radius is the square root of 29, but we don't care about that because we want to set this up in our x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared formula. We're going to leave x and y in because we're supposed to, but we have to replace x or h with a 3, k with a negative 2, and r squared we found to be 29. So there's our answer right there. Remember, x and y have to be a part of your equation because they're the variables. They change. Number 6. The only thing different about number 6 is we have to figure out what the center of the circle is. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. And in this one, it's not too bad to figure out what the center is because all we have to do is get the high spot and the low spot of the circle, which are here. You can see that we can draw the diameter of the circle right here. Oops, I moved this off a little bit. And then the rightmost and leftmost points can also be connected. So here we go. And where those two diameters intersect is the center. So if you can see this, how I've connected the right and leftmost point and the top and bottom point, you can see the center is right here at 3, 1. So I'll put C equals 3, 1, which represents the center. And the radius, all we have to do is count over to get the radius. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This radius is equal to 5. It's just 5 units over from the center. So to write the equation of this circle, when we know the center and radius, we just do x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, which is 25. So there's the equation of that circle right there. This next circle is even nicer because you can see that the center of this is at 0, 0. However, it's not real easy to find what the radius is because this is like 4 point something. You don't know exactly what it is, but it's 4 point something. So what you have to do is you have to find a point on the circle like what was given to us up in this example. In this example, 5, 3 was on the circle. Well, what point here is on the circle? Well, there's lots of them, but I think I'll pick this one right here, which is over 4 and up 2. So 4, 2 is equal to the x and y value on the circle. So I'm going to start out with x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, the equation of a circle. But the h and the k are 0, 0, which is beautiful. So now the x is 4. 4 minus 0 squared is 4 squared. Y minus 0 squared, well, the y value is 2. And that is equal to r squared. 4 squared is 16. 2 squared is 4. So r squared is equal to 16 plus 4, which is 20. So now we can write the equation of the circle. X minus 0 squared is x squared. Y minus 0 squared is y squared. and r squared is 20. So there's the equation of that circle. And this last example here, let's see if it's easy to find the center of this circle. I think it is. The topmost is here, the bottommost is here, and then the left point is, right point is here, the left point is here. So here's our diameter. So we have this diameter and this diameter, and we can see the center is over 3 down 1. So the center is over 3 down 1. And it's hard to tell what the radius is, again, because it's a decimal. So what we have to do is find a point. Here's a point on this circle right here. I can tell exactly what it is. It's over 5 up 2. So that will be our x and y value for the point. And here's our h and k values for the center. So it goes x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Well, x is 5, h is 3, y is 2, k is negative 1, so that's a plus 1, and that's r squared. Well, 5 minus 3 is 2 squared, 2 plus 1 is 3 squared, 4 plus 9 is 13. So we know what r squared is, so that's all we know. Once we know h and k and r, we can write the equation out. So this goes x minus 3 squared plus y plus 1 squared equals r squared, which is 13. And there's your equation for that example. Now let's move on to page 8. There's another form of the equation of a circle, and this is called standard form. That is not center radius form. Standard form goes like this: x squared plus y squared plus some number x plus some other number y plus some other number equals 0. D, E, and F are just some other numbers. So what we're going to be asked to do is rewrite this from standard form into center radius form. So we have to convert. So the steps, there's a two-step process. This is a complete the square process. And if you remember the complete the square, we do x squared plus dx plus blank. So we're going to have to write the dx next to the x squared. We just rearrange. Actually, we just switch those two positions, the y squared and the dx. We switch those around. And then y squared plus ey, and then we subtract f from both sides. We do a minus f and a minus f. And so whatever goes in this blank goes in this blank. Whatever goes in this blank goes in this blank. So we're going to do complete the square twice. And that's what it says in 2. Apply complete the square to both the x's and y's. And remember, this coefficient has to be equal to 1, or else we're not going to be able to do the complete the square. So here's an example. Here's an equation of a circle. We know it's a circle because it's x squared and y squared. And then what we're going to do is we're going to interchange these two terms. So it's going to be x squared minus 2x, those two come together, plus blank. Now this y squared goes next to the 6y. And then plus blank. So you're going to be completing the square here with the x's. You're going to be completing the square here with the y's. And then you have to subtract 9 from each side. Remember, it's subtract 9. Whatever this is, you do the opposite. So it's negative 9 plus blank plus blank. Whatever we add to the left, we have to add to the right. So to do the complete the square, we take half of b. Half of 2 is 1, and 1 squared is 1, so we're going to add 1 here and 1 here. Over here, we're going to take half of 6, which is 3. 3 squared is 9, so we're going to add 9 here and 9 here. And then we're going to do the complete the square. x minus 2 plus 1, if you wanted to factor this out, it goes x minus 1 times itself. And then we drop this plus sign down, and now you have to factor this. Complete the square says it's y plus 3 squared equals negative 9 plus 1 plus 9. If you add those all up, you're going to just be equal to 1. So that's what, now we're done. We've written it. This is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So the center is 1, negative 3. And the radius is the square root of 1, which is just 1. So here's the equation. And here's the center, and here's the radius. Example number 2. Remember, the first step is we have to rearrange these. We're going to switch those two, the y squared and the minus 10x. So it's going to be x squared minus 10x plus blank plus y squared minus 6y plus blank. And then this 25 has to be subtracted, and so you do a negative 25 over here after you subtract, plus blank plus blank. Complete the square. Half of 10 is 5. 5 squared is 25, so add 25 to both sides. Half of 6 is 3. 3 squared is 9, so you add 9 to both sides. And now you just factor. This is x minus 5 squared. This is y minus 3 squared. Don't forget the plus sign in between. Equals negative 25 plus 25 plus 9 is equal to 9. So this has a center that's equal to 5, 3, and the radius is equal to the square root of 9, which is 3. So here's the equation in center radius form. And you can see the center is at 5, 3, and the radius is at 3. Now this one, you have a 4 in front of these x squareds and y squared, so you're going to have to divide everything out by 4. So this is going to say x squared plus y squared plus 3x minus 24 over 4 is 6y plus 41 over 4 equals 0. Well, first thing we do is interchange the y squared and the 3x. So x squared plus 3x plus blank plus y squared minus 6y plus blank equals negative 41 over 4 plus blank plus blank. What goes in the blanks? Well, half of 3 is 3 halves, and 3 halves squared is 9 over 4. So you're going to add 9 over 4 to both sides. Half of 6 is 3, squared is 9. So you're going to add 9 to both sides. And then you're going to factor this. This is x plus 3 halves squared. Remember, whatever goes here is the value of b over 2 plus y minus 3 squared equals, now, negative 41 plus 9, let me see, 41 minus 9 is 32, this is negative 32, I'm doing this in my head, over 4, which is negative 8, and negative 8 plus 9 is equal to 1. So you can put those in your calculator if you want, but I'm pretty sure this answer is 1. So the center is at negative 3 halves, comma 3, and the radius is the square root of 1, which is 1. So here's the equation of that. Now it says graph each. Well, there's only two things that we can graph here. I've got 3 examples and 2 graphs. So the first one, the center is at 1, negative 3, so go over 1 and down 3. There's the center. This is the first example that I'm going to graph. So the center is at 1, negative 3, and the radius is 1. So here's the center of 1, negative 3, and if the radius is 1, you go up 1, to the right 1, down 1, and over 1. So this is a teeny, teeny, tiny circle. So that's example number 1. Example number 2, the center is at 5, 3. So go over 5, up 1, 2, 3. and this radius is equal to 3. So you go over 1, 2, 3, go up 1, 2, 3, go to the left 1, 2, 3, go down 1, 2, 3, and do your best to draw a nice even circle, which I usually can't do. So here's circle number 2. Oops, here's circle number 2. I don't know if you saw anything that I was doing here when I was graphing. Here's the center at 5, 3, and then I went left, right, up, and down 3 to draw that circle. And then circle number 3 has a center of negative 1.5, 3. So I'm going to go to negative 1.5 and up 3, 1, 2, 3. So there's the center of the circle, and the radius is equal to 1. So you go left 1, right 1, up 1, and down 1. So you got a little tiny circle. Actually, we could have put all 3 circles on the same graph. So there's example number 3. So 1, 2, and 3. And then we have lots of practice to do with circles, but I don't think we're going to do this in today's video because it's too long. See ya.